All right, what's up? Brent here. I'm the jazz musician behind LearnJazzStandards.com. Now, today's video, I want to talk a little about something very personal. I want to be a little bit vulnerable with you. And the reason I want to do that today is because this is an issue I've seen in a lot of musicians. You know, they have this attitude of feeling really down on themselves about their music, of feeling like they're not good enough, of constantly comparing themselves to others. And you know, several years ago, I wrote a blog post similar to this video today, and I got such great response. I even had some people saying, I was crying after I read your blog post, and it really affected me, it really helped me. And so in an effort to continue spreading that love, I thought I'd share my story for you today and how I've dealt with this thing that a lot of musicians seem to struggle with it, which is, you know, their self-image and their self-esteem, the way they look at their music, the way they appreciate themselves as a musician. So, you know, when I started getting into jazz, I would consider myself a little bit late. I got started at the end of high school. And when I went off to college, I was pretty die-hard serious about jazz. I would spend hours and hours in the practice room. And even before that, I actually took a gap year between high school and college where I was studying with a teacher. And I would practice 5 to 8 hours a day, just working all the time. I was trying to get a great scholarship at a college. I couldn't afford to go to college at first, so that's what I was working towards. So I was spending lots of time in the practice room. When I got to college, it was the same. I would get up in the morning, I'd go to classes all day. In between classes, I would practice. At night, I would play a gig. Then I get home, or I get back from the gig, I go practice some more. Then I go home, and then I'd sleep, and then I'd do it all over again. You know, my life, I was eating, living, breathing music and jazz all the time, and I was really serious about it. And being really serious about the music that way really helped me progress quickly. I got better faster. And on top of that, I was spending lots of time playing with musicians that were a lot better than me. And that also really helped me speed up my progress, probably a little faster than a lot of people would normally progress. But also at the same time, because I was taking jazz so seriously and music so seriously, I kind of started to lose sight of the fun of it, right? I started getting so in my head about, you know, am I improving fast enough? And listening back to some of my solos. You know, I used to record myself all the time, which is a great practice, but I would do it so much and I would listen back every single time and critique myself in an unhealthy way, where I would be listening back and be like, oh, I hate that line I played there, I biffed that, my rhythm was completely off there, you know, all these, you know, really kind of self-defeating thoughts, and just doing that too much, taking it too seriously. And you can imagine that when I went to jam sessions to play with others, I was very scared. And the reason is I was telling myself in my head that I had to be just as good as the best player in the room. And as we all know, there's always going to be a musician better than you, and that's a good thing. You want to be playing with musicians that are better than you, because that's how you improve. But my attitude was not of how much better am I going to get. I didn't have this attitude of setting a personal record, which I think is the most healthy way. I had this attitude of competition, comparing myself to the best player in the room, and as a result, I would leave jam sessions all the time feeling very defeated, anxious, sad, depressed, like I'm not good enough, I need to work harder, and really it was a vicious cycle for me. And I constantly was beating myself up, and it was terrible. I stopped loving music, and it was a horrible place to be in. And I think it took me hitting rock bottom, like just absolutely feeling anxious to even touch my instrument anymore, to really wake up one day and realize what happened. I love music. I got into this. The reason I'm so committed to it is because I in the first place, I loved it. Music brought me a lot of fun and joy, but now it had come to this place where I didn't enjoy it anymore. It just made me stressed out. It made me anxious. I almost didn't even like playing gigs because I just knew I'd be upset with something I did during the gig that I didn't think was perfect, right? So it took me hitting that point to really turn things around and finally be like, no, why do I play music? I play music because I love music and because I'm ever going to be improving. And my goal is to always improve. But my goal is to improve personally, you know, to look at my own personal record, like how did I do from this gig to this gig? Did I get better? Not was I as good as that guy in the bandstand, because that's going to set you up for failure. And it took me getting to that point to really start changing my mental side around and getting my mind wrapped around that. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I made, and the reason I say this is because I see musicians all the time that suffer from this, and it's really important to address it, is a lot of musicians put too much of their self-worth into music. It's a real serious problem. They don't really put a lot of self-worth in other parts of their life, like just who they are as a person. And that's a really big mistake, because if you put all of your self-worth in music, boy, you're gonna have a hard time in life. You're gonna be constantly down or depressed on yourself, because you're never gonna play perfectly. There's always gonna be someone better. There's always gonna be room for improvement. So that was a big mistake I made. It was a classic mistake. And I think when I was able to start turning that around, and as a person see all the different value that I brought to the world, brought to the table, brought to others, my friends, my family around me, it really helped me think about music in a different light too. Music was just a tool, a creative tool that I have, a gift that I have, that I get to express and I get to share with other people, whether it's teaching stuff to people like I do on LearnJazzStandards.com here on this video, or if it's playing a gig like I do around New York City. I play gigs around New York and just sharing the joy of music with other people. So I want to challenge you, if you find yourself in this boat, if you find yourself in a place where music has ceased to be fun, you spend more time critiquing yourself, you spend more time feeling anxious, comparing yourself to others, I want to encourage you to let go of that now. And that starts with looking to yourself and admitting that that's what's happening. Then it comes to asking yourself, what do I need to do now? How do I turn this around? What do I need to do? How do I need to change the way I think in order to get to a more healthy place? And I guarantee you that if you're able to do this with the help of friends, family, other musicians, if you're able to do this, your musicianship will be better. You will improve more. All that time you spent worrying about whether you were getting better or not, well, you're gonna get better faster just by being positive and uplifting to yourself and not beating yourself up about your playing and your musicianship. I guarantee you of that, because that's what happened for me, and I've seen that happen for many other musicians. So here's my challenge for you. I want to hear from you. Have you ever related to this? Have you ever felt this same kind of stuff that I went through and many other musicians go through? If you can, leave a comment in the comments below. Tell us how you overcame those, or if you haven't overcome them yet, tell us what you're going to do to try to turn that around, okay? We're all in this together. We're all in this music path together. Different paths, though we may be, we're all headed the same direction. So we're in this together as a community, as musicians. Let's all be there for each other. Let's think positive. Let's always have this motive of beating our own personal records and not comparing ourselves to others. All right, my name is Brent. I'm signing off. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our page on Facebook, and definitely join our jazz community at LearnJazzStandards.com/join. Peace.